It depicts no crimes by Donald Trump. It depicts no misconduct by Donald Trump. And it shows utter contempt. Its very existence is a slap in the face of the rule of law, the U.S. Constitution, and the Supreme Court. The priority of the Biden administration is destroying its enemies. And we see that this week with the release of what I believe to be nothing more than a campaign document disguised as a legal brief smearing Donald Trump about January 6th and the election dispute. I don't know if we have the tweet, but I carefully reviewed the document. Here's the document. It's 100 and how many pages is it? Here it is, 165 pages of gossip, innuendo, the quote Shakespeare. What is it, a bunch of noise? Is it? I don't think he used the word bunch.
They're outrageous.
A whole lot of noise signifying nothing. So I shouldn't say to quote Shakespeare, I should say to mangle Shakespeare. Much noise signifying nothing from the Biden, Harris, Garland, Jack Smith Justice Department, released by anti-Trump Judge Chutkan. This document shows that Donald Trump, it depicts no crimes by Donald Trump. It depicts no misconduct by Donald Trump. And it shows utter contempt. Its very existence is a slap in the face of the rule of law, the U.S. Constitution, and the Supreme Court. Because as you may recall, the Supreme Court ruled that President Trump has immunity for acts while in office. This brief simply ignores that ruling, ignores it. And what they do is they simply allege, obviously, public acts or acts as president are private, as if that makes any sense. So the whole process is built on a house of illegitimate sand, right? Because under the Supreme Court's ruling, they weren't allowed to gather information, one would argue, or one might argue, about the president's official acts the way they did here. Instead, they used improper evidence gathering, improper inquiries into his official activities to try to concoct a crime that could throw him in jail. And when is this released? A month before the election. Talk about abuse of power. Talk about a banana republic. Talk about election interference and election rigging. As I said and noted before, this election's already been compromised by the election interference of anti-Trump prosecutors in Fulton County, up in New York, anti-Trump judges, Judge Chutkan, the New York judges, and most directly, the Biden Justice Department, Jack Smith, Garland, the Harris appointees over there, who are desperate to try to smear Trump in order to save the Harris campaign. And the irony is, who knows, maybe Harris could win. But they can't help but try to rig it. And so the election now, again, it's further compromised thanks to this document. And, I've seen this misconduct up close from Jack Smith, the FBI, the Biden, Harris, Garland Justice Department, because I've been victimized by it. Your Judicial Watch has been victimized by it. As I note, the FBI came to my home with a subpoena, and then Jack Smith's team spent 4 hours harassing me before a grand jury. In retaliation for daring to raise questions about the rigged and ruined 2020 election, and for opposing Biden's government corruption, his lawfare. I talked about it during a speech at CPAC earlier this year. Let's run that clip. Well, you know, I don't need to tell you, we're in banana republic territory now. The Biden administration, with its unprecedented and political prosecutions of Trump, is now officially a regime. You know, I've seen it up close. I've seen it up close. Not too long ago, I had significant skin cancer surgery. And a few hours after I got home, I'm on the couch recovering, feeling sorry for myself, when the FBI comes knocking. They came knocking on my door with a grand jury subpoena from the Biden DOJ. The agents tried to be pleasant and helpfully pointed out that something had come from me from Amazon. I suspect I am the first person in American history to receive FBI notice of an Amazon package delivery. I ended up being hassled and abused by the special counsel team for 4 hours over Trump documents, my First Amendment rights, and what I had for lunch with President Trump. It was a partisan fishing expedition. Frankly, it was like having to spend a day on an MSNBC panel. But I knew why they brought me before that grand jury. It was payback and intimidation for daring to defend Trump against their abuse of power. And we're not going to be intimidated. I mean, we already have a lawsuit we've been pursuing to get the names of Jack Smith's top deputies. They're hiding them in an unprecedented fashion from the American people. The government employees who are trying to jail a former president, we're not asking for their secretaries' names. We want the top people's names to find out and be reassured or expose about the details of any political bias, or just to know who they are because they work for us and we have a right to know. I mean, this is, when I say regime, I really mean it. This is Banana Republic, third world style Justice Department activity. And we saw it with this political game played by the courts in league with the Biden-Harris people to try to interfere in our election with these smears of Trump. So we've got the litigation about what Jack Smith is up to. We've got the litigation about the abuses of Trump. I mean, the reason I was hauled before a grand jury wasn't because I had, quote, any information as a witness. It's because we were bugging the Justice Department with lawsuits, because we were criticizing them publicly, because we are a leader for government accountability, and they don't want government accountability. They want to be able to abuse with impunity, and we're not going to let that happen. So I know what Jack Smith is about. I've seen it firsthand. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.